I'm Aubrey. I'm the owner of Vitality Fitness and Wellness. You should see me on 2 screens here. I'm going to be popping up and doing a few exercises and demonstrating some things for you, as well as sharing some good information. So I'm going to continue on here. So I just wanted to kind of welcome you. It's great to have you here. I'm super excited to be sharing this information with you. You are in the right place if you're wondering how to naturally improve your bone health through nutrition and exercise. I won't have enough time to go through kind of like the prescription options and talk through the pros and cons of those as far as bone health and osteoporosis go. So this evening is focused on kind of the natural ways that we can improve our bone health through exercise and nutrition. If you want to feel stronger and more confident in your body, and if you've seen how the generations before you have aged and you want a different experience, you want to live longer, healthier, more vibrant, and engaged life. So I'm super excited to welcome you here. Whoops. In the next 60 minutes, I'm going to give away the #1 exercise mistake that women and men over 55 are making that are stopping from feeling strong, confident, and help you to boost your bone health. You'll discover the most important type of exercise and the most effective exercise to build your bone health. We'll explore whether you're making this slip up when it comes to your nutrition. There's definitely more that you need than just calcium. So we'll talk about all the nutrients that you need when it comes to helping you have the best bone health that you can have. And I'll reveal the best exercises for women and men over 55 when you want to boost your bone health, and make sure that you are not doing the ones that are sabotaging your efforts to live a strong and healthy life. My promise to you this evening is I'm going to show you the exact steps to boost your bone health, build strength and confidence in your body, gain vitality after 55 without spending hours and hours a day working out or taking tons of supplements. Oops. I'm not here to pitch a sale. I want to give you the best information possible this evening, but that means that I'd love for you to show up in just the same exact way that I'm going to show up, really focused and really attentive to our evening this evening. Feel free to have a drink or a snack. It's a very casual situation, but I've packed this presentation with great information. So I want you to turn off any distractions, put your phone aside. Let's dive in. If you stay until the end, I have a great resource list for you, as well as I'll take some time to answer some more questions. So does this sound familiar? And my mom is on here, so this is so funny. Your mother told you that osteoporosis runs in the family, and you're worried that you'd be doomed to be hunched over and frail. Your doctor said that you should be doing more weight-bearing exercises, but didn't give you very much information regarding that. Your doctor talked about medication, supplements, or other treatments to help you with your bone density, but didn't give you that much education around them. And you're not really sure where to start. The truth is that once you learn the information that I'm going to share tonight, you'll have a clear path to help you build strength and confidence in your body, improve your balance, and gain the vitality to help you enjoy all of life's adventures. Once you know this information and you can execute these secrets, you'll have the power to build muscle tone, feel confident and strong in your body, improve your posture, improve your balance, boost your bone health, and gain the energy you deserve to get out there and enjoy life. What you need to know is that anyone can do this. So many people think that, maybe they're not strong enough, they're not healthy enough, they're not fit enough to even get started. And that's absolutely not the case. There's body-friendly exercises that can work for everybody. Through those body-friendly exercises, the right nutrition, and a little bit of in your corner motivation, like from myself and my team, we help women and men over 55 to boost their bone health, build strength and confidence in their body, and gain vitality to enjoy life's adventures. So just a quick introduction. I'm Aubrey. I'm the owner of Vitality Fitness and Wellness. We offer a virtual fitness community and fitness coaching and wellness coaching. We have live workout sessions multiple times a day. We focus on working with the over 55 crowd. So most of our clients are between the ages of 50 and 74, but we do have some private clients all the way up into their 90s that do log on online live with us, getting the good coaching from myself and my team of trainers, helping people to build strength and confidence in their body, get rid of some pounds sometimes, improve their balance sometimes, and just feel that overall energy and improved, healthy aging and longevity. I used to work in physical therapy. I'm going to go on with my slide. It wasn't always like this. People think that when they look at me, they're like, oh, she must be fit. She must have lived in the gym. She must have always been this way. And that's not the case. In fact, I used to skip gym class when possible because I absolutely hated it. It was horrible. And I used to work in physical therapy. I worked with people who just had the average back pain, knee pain, hip pain, some balance issues. But I also worked with people who had Parkinson's or after a stroke or significant balance issues. And I really wanted to get ahead of the game. I really wanted to help people feel stronger and healthier and live that vibrant life and not kind of go through that cycle of, going to physical therapy and coming back and feeling worse. I just saw people again and again and again who didn't have that consistent, healthy routine in their life, and they needed more motivation. They needed some guidance. And so that's why I started the programs that I did. So we're going to dive into it. We're going to uncover the secrets to thrive after 55 and boost your bone health, build strength and confidence in your body, improve your balance, and gain vitality so you can enjoy the life's adventures. So what is osteopenia and what is osteoporosis? I'm going to go through this pretty quickly because you probably know. Osteopenia is at lower bone density than normal. You can still build some good bone density, but it's kind of that precursor for osteoporosis. It doesn't necessarily mean that you will absolutely have osteoporosis, but that you are on the border of that low bone density, and that you should really pay attention to building your bone density. And then osteoporosis happens when the creation of new bone doesn't keep up with the loss of bone. Your bones are more brittle, you're at risk for a fracture, even with everyday activities. So something like bending down and picking up that heavy bag of dog food with a bad twist could cause you to have a fracture in your spine. Or if you did take a quick fall, you were more likely to break a hip. Or even if you have extreme osteoporosis, something as simple as a cough or a sneeze could cause you to have a fracture in your spine. So we really want to work on it. So how is bone density measured? Bone density is measured through a test called a DEXA scan. It's usually not covered through insurance in the US, I'm speaking about, until you're 62 years old. And that's often a little bit too late with your information. It would be really helpful if we had that information a little earlier in life. And so you can have a talk with your doctor if you are under that age and you want to get that good information. You may have a talk with your doctor about whether or not you can get that test earlier than that. It's a painless test that uses x-rays to measure the bone density in several areas of your body, typically your spine, your hip, your wrist, your fingers, and possibly your heel. Oftentimes, I ask people who have had a DEXA scan, what was their worst spot or whatnot, and they have no idea. So you can ask your doctor that information once you get the results. When you get the results, you will get a score called a T-score. And normal bone density is a +1 to a -1. Osteopenia, which is that low bone density, but we can still build bone growth from there, is a -1 to -2.5. And osteoporosis is a -2.5 or greater. So we're going to go into the risk factors for osteoporosis. You absolutely can still build your bone health and build your bone density, especially with that osteopenia, and you can prevent further loss with that osteoporosis. So we're going to go into some of the risk factors. Some of the factors that we can't control: females are more at risk than males. Our bone growth peaks in our 30s, just the same as our muscle growth peaks in our 30s. So age is a factor. It doesn't mean that you absolutely can't continue that bone growth, but if you're not doing anything to work on it, it will go down from there. Race, white, Caucasian, or Asian is the most common that will have osteoporosis. Family history: if you have a parent or sibling with osteoporosis, you're more likely. Body frame size: if you have that small body frame, you're more at risk. Some other factors that we might not have thought about are scoliosis, history of eating disorders or being underweight. If you've had a gastrointestinal surgery to remove a portion of your stomach or intestine, this limits your body's ability to absorb nutrients like calcium, and so it makes it more common to have osteoporosis. If you have reduced sex hormones like estrogen after menopause or with the treatment of prostate or breast cancer. Overactive thyroid or too much of a dosage of thyroid medication can make you more prone. Overactive parathyroid or adrenal glands, long-term use of corticosteroid medication. So there's a lot of people that say, oh, I'm just going to get this steroid injection. It's the only thing that helps my hip to feel better. But I'm always cautious with that. I'm always like, well, do we absolutely need it? Did we try everything else first? Because it can put your hip at more of a risk for a fracture or weakened bone situation in the future. So something to keep in mind. Other risk factors are celiac disease, IBS, kidney and liver disease. All of those are where you have a reduced ability to absorb your good nutrients that you need. With cancer, rheumatoid arthritis, or endocrine disorders, also risk factors. And then there's lifestyle risk factors. So excessive alcohol consumption, and that's listed as 2 or more drinks a day, can increase your risk for osteoporosis. Tobacco use or smokers or any type of tobacco. One that I found really interesting was cola drinkers. It's not like just soda, but it's like if the kind of like Coke, those darker sodas, if you're a regular drinker of those, and some people are like regular Diet Coke drinkers or whatever it is, you're more at risk for osteoporosis. Coffee, if you have more than 4 cups a day. Those who are sedentary and don't get enough exercise, and a little bit of that poor nutrition as well. So as I said, bone density peaks in our 30s. We lose 1 to 3% of bone density a year if we are not doing the right exercise and have the right nutrients for our body. Females during menopause, we lose bone density at an accelerated rate during that time. So during those years of menopause, we lose bone density at a rate of 3 to 5% during that time. And then afterwards, it goes back down to that 1 to 3%. The best time to build bone density is before puberty. So I know none of us are there, but we do have people in our lives that are there. And so I know, a lot of, grandmothers, grandfathers on this presentation, and people who have, loved ones in their life who are younger. It's a great way to really educate them that it's not just calcium that you need. It's not just focusing on your nutrients that you need, but having those regular higher impact activities, something like basketball, something like gymnastics, martial arts, those kind of things are actually really good to help build bone density. I think sometimes as we get older, we worry about those activities because we think, oh, they're so much impact, is it safe for them? But it's actually really good to help build that bone density. Through that theory of Wolff's Law, which means when we give our bone a little bit of impact, it creates more bone. And so that's what's going on there. But can we still build bone density? Yes, we can, through the right nutrients and exercise. And if you are on that osteoporosis or that high level of osteoporosis, you can prevent further loss. So you're not going to be building a ton of bone density, but you can prevent further loss and kind of keep a steady level, which is really important as well. So the areas that we want to focus on for our bone health are strength training, including weight-bearing exercises. And I'm going to dive deeper into all of these areas tonight. Postural exercises, focusing on the extensor muscles of our body. So the muscles on the backs of our body, the muscles behind here, in between our shoulder blades, our glute muscles, all of these muscles back here. So much, so many of us are seated throughout the day. A lot of the activities that we do are forward, cooking, driving, on our phones, on our laptops. All of these things are forward. And the more we can open up and strengthen the muscles on the back side of our body, the better we will be, especially with our bone health as well. Balance training is super important because if you have osteoporosis or you're prone to it, if you have a fall, you're at more of a risk for a fracture. And a lot of times that spirals into, hospitalization, sometimes infection in the hospital, sometimes goes on and on and on with these kind of long stories of health issues. So you want to have really top-notch balance. Mobility and stretching, you want to have really good movement in your body, and then the right nutrients. So what exercises build bone density? I'm sure you have heard about weight-bearing exercises, and you want to make sure that you have the right dosage when you're thinking about weight-bearing exercises. So you want to use the minimal effective stress, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, but you want to do a variety of exercises. You can't do the exact same exercise every single time without challenging your body. You have to give your body a little bit of a challenge. You have to push it a little bit more each time, or vary it a little bit more each time to give your body that challenge. Some of the things that I found when I was just Googling, just like some information about osteoporosis, just wanted to kind of see what was out there before I did a good blog article on it, as well as this presentation. And it was really alarming because some things were really wrong. So some of the things that do not build bone density are swimming, biking, the elliptical, the rower. These are all like non-weight bearing exercises. They're good for your joints and they're good for your cardiovascular system. They're safe because they're, non-impact. And sometimes we need to start that way when we are working on building up stability and strength in our body. But those activities are not going to help build our bone density. So I saw some of them in there when I was Googling, and I was like, no, stop. Whoop. What's going on there? Do you see that? Oh, there it goes, but I skipped the slide. There we go. Whew, that was weird. Okay. So does walking build your bone density? So I know a lot of people are regular walkers and they think that it's really great for their body, and it is really good for your body. Walking regularly is wonderful. And I especially love getting outdoors and just getting that fresh air. It's really important. Also good to get that vitamin D when the sun is out. Today was a super rainy day. But if you're a regular walker, if your body is used to that, let's say you regularly walk 2 miles a day, that's actually not going to be enough of a challenge to help you build your bone density anymore. You have to vary it up a little bit. You have to vary your intensity. You have to vary your challenge. And another way that you can do so is by changing your course. Maybe you add some more hills, or you add a little bit more of a challenge to your walking so that it's not the same level, flat, good route that you're used to every single time, but that you vary up that route and you make it more of a challenge for you. Or you can add a weighted vest. They have nice weighted vests that you can adjust the weights into. You want to keep a really good posture when you're walking with that. You do not want to be hunched forward. You don't want to be leaning forward when you're walking with your weighted vest, but you want to keep that really tall posture. And that can be a good way to challenge your body a little bit more if you are a regular walker and you want to keep building your bone density through walking. Just keeps doing this. It's like half switching. Silly. All right, here we go. Exercises and movements to avoid if you have osteoporosis. So the bending, lifting, and twisting combination is really, really something to be mindful of. So like I was saying, if you are going to reach over and, whoops, you can't see me, sorry. If you were going to reach over and really twist, and you would get that big twisting, bending situation, like you were reaching for a big bag of groceries out of the trunk, or you were trying to grab a couple, but you really twisting at your back to do so, or maybe a big bag of dog food or something like that. That big twist, especially with a weight or a force, is something that you want to avoid. You want to really make sure you square off your body, that you're nice and steady, that you bend your knees and your hips to keep your back nice and flat, and that you get a good stance with that instead of that big twist. Other things that might be causing you that extreme bend, lift, and twist combo are golf. So you need to be mindful if you're a regular golfer and you have osteoporosis, that big force with those swings can be dangerous. You really want to build up your stability first and be mindful and careful there. And then also some yoga positions are not safe for your body with that big extreme motions. So I'll talk a little bit in the next one. Repetitive or extreme spinal flexion. So like that crunching or bending and flexing motion of your spine, something like crunches or sit-ups, that repetitive motion is too much pressure on your spine. There's lots of ways that you can build your core muscles through neutral spine or straight spine exercises. And I'll go over some of those as we keep moving on here. Some of those exercises in yoga you want to be mindful of, like those forward folds or a child's pose position, can be pretty dangerous if you have an extreme osteoporosis. You can use pillows or blocks. You can chat with your yoga instructor if you have one, making sure that you're keeping more of a neutral spine or a straight spine position and not getting into those extreme positions. And then another one to avoid is that extreme spinal extension. So really arching back, like this bottom picture here, where she's really arching through her lower back. We do want to build in a little bit of extension, and we'll talk about that as we go, but these extreme positions are a bit much for those with osteoporosis. And then if you have osteoporosis, you want to avoid those high impact movements like jumping or running, too much pressure on the spine. Oops, keeps wanting to go to that one. All right, so we're going to talk about the important parts that you want to focus on for building that bone health. And one of those is strength training. So as I mentioned, focusing on those weight-bearing exercises. You want to focus on standing and dynamic exercises more often than those seated exercises. So something like hopping on the exercise equipment at the gym, where you do those seated hip motions or seated leg kickouts or things like that, are less effective for your body than if you were getting up and using some free weights and using your body in a more dynamic position. You want to focus on your strength training 2 to 3 times a week. It doesn't need to take you hours and hours. We do our workouts at Vitality Fitness with 45 minutes with a good full body warm up and stretch at the end as well. Effective dose for your exercises is 8 to 15 repetitions with 2 to 4 sets of each exercise. Like I said, you need to challenge your body. So your body is going to really get used to it. If you are using the same 2-pound weights for your bicep curls every single time you do your exercises, your body is no longer challenged by that exercise. Your body will start to learn it and start to get comfortable with it and start to improve and build muscle. And so you'll need to vary that up. You'll need to change and change either your weight or your intensity or your speed at which you go, to make sure that you are varying it up and giving your body that solid challenge each time you work out, because you want to get the most out of your workout. And as well as focusing on really good posture. In our sessions at Vitality Fitness, we're always talking about really pulling up through the spine, open chest positioning, and I'll go through some of tips and techniques as we go through. Whoops. All right, so I'm going to demonstrate a few exercises for you. I'm going to go through some of the postural exercises, and these are just some samples. There's tons of exercises that you can do that I mentioned that we're focusing on the extensor muscles of our body, the muscles on the back side of our body. There's tons of exercises you can do. I'm just going to go through a few and just give you some good tips and techniques here. So I'm going to switch screens. All right. Okay, so can you see me over here? Yeah, good, excellent. All right, thank you for bearing with me. So I'm going to take a set of weights here, and these are my heavier set of weights. The first exercise I'm going to demonstrate is a bent row exercise. We do these at Vitality Fitness in our virtual sessions. You're going to get into your shoulder width stance. You're going to hold your weights by your side at a really tall posture. You're going to sit your hips back. So it's like I have forgotten to close the door and I am sticking my tush back to close it. My back is super straight. My head is nice and neutral. From here, I'm going to take my elbows and pull them back to the sides of my body and then bring them back down. I'll go from this angle a couple times so you can see. So my head is nice and neutral, kind of tucking it down, pulling those elbows to the side of my body and bringing it back down. Pulling and bringing it back down. I'll go from here a couple times. Each time with this exercise, you're focusing on a good squeeze between your shoulder blades. You don't want to go way too far past your body or you'll put a lot of stress on your shoulders, but you want to get that good squeeze right here between the shoulder blades. It's a great postural exercise, helping to build those extensor muscles. You can also take that exercise on your bench here if you need a little support. So let's say you need a little support, you can put one foot here. I do this on a chair as well. You don't have to have a bench. Put your hand down.
Aubrey, we can't see you.
Oh, you can't?
Not at all.
Oh dear. Let me make sure.
Some of us can because I can see you, Aubrey.
Oh, okay. Hang on. Let me remove this spotlight and we'll make sure we get.
Oh, I was on the wrong screen.
I
Never
can
mind.
see the spotlight. It's okay if you're mobile.
I was on the wrong screen.
Is this better? You got me, Clyde?
Yeah, I was on the wrong screen. I was on the wrong screen.
It's all right. It's all right. We're good. So here you want to put your knee down onto your either chair or bench. You can put your hand down here. We're going for that super flat spine position. So the reason I stuck my leg way out is because I really want to have that flat back. I'll pull back here and bring it forward. Pull it back here and bring it down. So everything you do, even if you're in that bent position, even if you're bent over, I still talk about that open chest because you really want to keep your back straight and have that open chest position. I'll go through a couple more here. There's one, if you can use a light set of weights with this one. I'm just gonna grab these here. You're in your slightly bent position. We're gonna go through those I, Y, T. So it makes those letters. I'm going to come forward here at an I, come up at a Y. My thumbs kind of go backwards, and then I go palms forward for that T. I call that one my bird flap. So I go I, Y, and I call this one bird flap T. So you're getting that good squeeze between your shoulder blades. Each time you're working on that good shoulder stability. It's a great exercise if you have any shoulder issues, but it's also really good for your postural muscles. Next exercise here I'll go through is a plank. So that works your core muscles, but it's also working that good postural muscles as well. So you can do a plank. It doesn't have to be down on the floor. We talk about this at our programs all the time, that there's multiple ways that you can do a plank. You can start by going up against the wall here. So I'll start there. Hands here, walk it back. Good lift of your heels. Pulling your core in and keeping this good solid position. Maybe you start doing it for 10 seconds or so. Maybe you build up from there. I'll demonstrate if this was like the seat of my chair. You could also go countertop, seat of your chair, work your way down to the floor as you're progressing and getting stronger. So we're getting here into our straight body position, spreading my fingertips, pushing away through my palms. Pushing away a little bit through my shoulders. Head is nice and neutral. Got that shoulders down and back. Core muscles are really pulled in. The biggest mistake I see here is people got just about here and they're too scared to bring their body weight here. If you're still working on that, just go to a higher surface and work your way till you're more comfortable to shift your body weight forward and over onto those arms as best you can. Next one that I'm going to demonstrate here, which is a great postural exercise, is a standing superwoman. So you can do this exercise lying down on the ground, but I've found that not a lot of people like to get up and down from the ground. So this is a great exercise. You can do it with a set of weights, or you can start without. I'm going to take my hands up like this. So they are up just slightly away from my body, and my shoulders are still down. Don't go here. Pull those shoulders down, pull your shoulders down and back. From here, you're going to go opposites. Opposite, 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 opposite. So you can see I'm just pulling one arm and the opposite leg to touch back. And that's getting some really great extensor motion through my back, my glute muscles, my back extensor muscles, and the muscles up here as well. And then I have one more that I'll go over here for those postural exercises. Is called a good morning. So you're going to take a weight right here. You're going to put it in front of your chest. You're going to stick your tush back. I can do this one up against the wall to give myself a little bit more of a cue, but I would take about a step away from the wall, about a foot away from the wall. And I would think about trying to touch my tush back to the wall and then stand up nice and tall. Touch my tush back to the wall and stand up nice and tall. And this is working not only my glute muscles, but my back extensor muscles, as well as my hamstrings a little bit, which is a really great exercise. So those are some really good options for postural exercises. Let's see. I'm going to switch my spotlight and remove spotlight. There we go. And then go back to sharing my screen. There we go. Awesome. So you want to use those free weights and those weight-bearing exercises to help you to build the stability also in your forearms and wrists. So the forearms and wrists are another area that can really lose that bone density. And even just doing through some steady, weight exercises with your neutral wrist position, keeping that straight spine, straight neutral wrist position, that can help you to build stability, even just by doing curls or forward raises or exercises like that, that can help to build the stability in your wrist muscles as well, just by holding on to those weights. There's some really great research studies that have been shown to be linking grip strength, how strong your grip is, with longevity. And so I always find it really fun when some of our participants of our programs are saying, wow, like I'm really seeing some muscle in my forearms. Like this is like so weird. Like it's not an area that you think of that you would really want to build muscle in. But I'm always like, oh yes, this is so good. You don't know why, but I'm going to tell you. So let's see. All right, so then we're going to go on and I'm going to demonstrate some neutral spine core strengthening exercises. So like I mentioned, having a strong core is really important, but that does not mean going into crunches or sit-ups or exercises that are going to be that repetitive flexion, repetitive stress on your spine. I'll go through a few exercises here, but here's my list that's going to disappear here in a second. All right, can you see me here on this big one? Oops, hang on, sorry, I lost you guys. Now I can't see anybody. I won't know. Can you see me here on this big one? Yeah, we're good. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to go through some of the core exercises here. So I like to start at a standing position because you don't always have to do exercises down on the floor. So one that I like to demonstrate is to get into a really wide squat. So this is a wider stance position than my squat stance. My toes are pointed out to the side. I'm going to bend my knees here a little bit. I'm going to bring my hands up. So I'm in a really tall spine position here. I'm going to pull my core muscles in, crunch over to the side and come up nice and tall. Crunch over here, come up nice and tall. So I'm really using these side muscles to crunch in and come up, crunch in and come up. So that's a nice, easy way that you don't have to get down on the floor, but you can still work your core muscles in a good, steady, neutral spine position. Even though we're side bending, it's a safe, controlled motion for your back. I'm going to get down here on the floor and go through a couple other exercises. So our dead bug exercise, there's a couple ways to do this one. I'm going to be lying onto my back, nice and flat here with my back. I want to think about pulling my core muscles up and in, like I'm pulling on a tight pair of pants. I'm going to bring my legs up and press my hands into my legs. So by doing that, by putting a little tension through my legs and pulling my core muscles in, I've got some really good activation of those core muscles. From here, I'm going to keep those core muscles tucked in and open with a big breath out. And then press again. Open and press again. So each time I'm really focusing on keeping my core muscles pulled up and in, tucked up and in the whole time as I get that good breath and then come back in. Good breath and come back in. So I'm not going for speed on this one. I'm going for slow stability on this one. The next exercise that I'm going to go over is like a flutter, or what we call 100 in like Pilates, right? So this is a little bit of a Pilates move. You can bring your legs up here, pull those core muscles in. You can keep your head and neck down onto the mat. Really pull your core muscles in, and you're making this little pulse with your upper body. To make this more challenging, bring your legs out lower and lower and lower. You pick the level of your legs that feels like a challenge for your body, where you can still pull those core muscles in. So maybe you're just starting here and you really feel those core muscles working. Maybe you need a little bit more challenge and you've lowered them down a little bit here, but you really need to focus on pulling those core muscles in with that movement. I talked about the planks already. And then the hollow hold variations is there's lots of ways that you can do your hollow hold movement, which is the picture that I'm on in that slide. So your hollow hold is just holding your arms You can start here if you're still working on it, really pulling those core muscles in, or you can go lower here. The goal is to get your arms by your ears and bring your legs down low and hold that with your core muscles in. If you feel this in your back at all, you've gone too far. You really want to make sure that you're focusing on your core muscles and pulling in from there first, and then challenge your body a little bit more. Sometimes we do this hollow hold position where we hold a weight and we draw some circles. We draw them the other way. Sometimes we do it where we add a little chest press, where we're pressing up. We do a lot of variations with that one, but it's a great way to work your core muscles and work on that neutral spine positioning there. I'm gonna hop up here and switch my spotlight. There we go. All right, so, oops. So I've missed an exercise because my thing was not, there it is. Okay, so lower body exercises. There's a number of lower body exercises that are really great for your, to help build that bone density. You want to work on anywhere between 2 to 4 sets, 8 to 15 repetitions. I give you that range because it's really important that you find what's right for your body. You're going to feel a challenge. If you feel a challenge by those last couple reps in that set, that's a good level for you. That means you're using the right exercise, the right weight, the right challenge. If it's not, and you could really do like 25 or 30 repetitions. I'm just using bicep curls as a very easy example, but it's not what I want you to do. If you could blow through and do lots and lots of repetitions of that, it's not quite enough of a challenge for your body. You need to use a heavier weight or challenge your body a little bit more. So I'm going to get over here again and go through some of those lower body strengthening exercises. There we go. You guys all see me over here? Yeah, we're good. Yeah. All right. So for our lower body strengthening exercises, I'll go through a couple standing first. Your regular squat exercise is a great lower body weight bearing exercise. So you can take a weight right here. You can make it more challenging, or you can take just your body weight without any weight, and you can go into that squat exercise. A lot of people say that they can't squat, but it's usually that their technique is not correct. You could even start with just sitting and standing from your chair, nice and steady. If you're getting into your squat position, you're going to have your feet a little wider than your hips. Your toes can be slightly out or straight ahead. It really depends on how your pelvis is made up and how your body sits. I keep that open chest posture if I'm holding my weight. If I don't have my weight, I'm right here like this, keeping that open chest posture. I'm going to pretend like I'm about to sit. So I stick my tush back and then come up nice and tall. I'm going to go through just a couple reps of really small range of motion. So my hips go back and up nice and tall. My hips go back and up nice and tall, or you can take it to bigger range of motion if you're feeling like you're strong and stable and you're building up for some good big range of motion here. But the key here is that I'm sitting my hips back. Most people, when they try to squat and they say they can't squat, is because they're going straight down. And that puts a lot of pressure on my knees and my hips and gives too much pressure there for my body. Another exercise is a hinge. So this is technically a deadlift, but people panic when I say that word. So you're going to take your weights in front of your body, really shoulders back, good tall position here. Shoulder width stance with your feet. Same thing about that file cabinet or that door. You forgot to close it and you're using your tush to do so. Or I say that I'm a dog and I have a tail and someone has pulled it. You stick your hips back, bend your knees, Hands kind of glide along your thighs. And then you come up nice and tall. So you're gliding back here and coming up nice and tall. Really good exercise for your hips, for building that bone density, for building those postural exercises, muscles as well. Let's see, I'm gonna get down on the floor here for the next couple. That bird dog exercise is a really great exercise. There's also other exercises on all fours that are really good for building that stability and building that bone density. So you want to get into that tabletop position here, flat back. You're going to separate your knees so that your knees are right under your hips. Your hands are right under your shoulders. You can start with just your legs if you're just building up. Pull your core muscles in, keep those hips flat to the floor. Don't let them turn and open. You're going to kick back and bring it down, and kick back and bring it down. Really important that you keep this straight, flat back position here, and that you don't get a big arch with your spine, or that you don't open as you go. That was a huge exaggeration, but oftentimes when I see people do this exercise, they get going too fast and they've got a wobble here. They've got a little bit of twist and a little bit of wobble. You want to make sure you're really steady as you go through, and keep that weight even through each hand and your knee. You shouldn't be losing your weight on your hands. You should be keeping it even as you press back. If you're ready to add that opposite arm, you get that big opposite reach and big opposite reach with that good straight spine position. And then there's a bunch of different ways that you can do bridging exercises down here on the ground. Flat back position here, tuck your heels under your tush. If they're out here, they're going to get a cramp in your hamstring. You're going to get a big cramp behind here. So tuck your heels in nice and close. Pull your core muscles in. The most steady position is right here, and slowly lower. Right here and slowly lower. We do a ton of different variations of bridges and different exercises in our programs, but I'll go through a couple variations. You could keep those hips high and nice and steady march like this, keeping them high the whole time. Or you could push up and make a big march each time you go through that way. So there's a number of different ways that you can add some bridging exercises to your program. If you happen to be a member of a gym and they have a leg press machine, that's actually a really great exercise to help you build bone density in your hips. You're going to be pushing away kind of what's called like the sled or the weight, the platform there where your feet are, and you're pushing away and controlling and bending your knees as you come down and in. Same thing with that one. You want to keep in mind that you need to challenge your body with different exercises and progress your weights to get a good challenge to build your muscles and your bone density. Let's see. I'm going to go through the next one here before I switch. So actually you can, if your body is healthy, if you have healthy joints, if you have not been diagnosed with osteoporosis, if you are just wanting to build that bone density, but your body is pretty healthy, you can add some impact exercises. I know we've been taught for like years and years, and it's been like, pushed at us for so long, low impact, low impact, low impact is healthy for us. But actually, we need to build a little bit of strength. We need to build a little stability first. We need to make sure that our body is safe and strong. But once we do that, adding a little bit of impact or also a little bit of force and speed to our movements can really be helpful to build our bone density. So if you're not diagnosed with osteoporosis and your body is relatively healthy, you're pretty strong in your joints, you've been working on your strength, you can add a little bit of impact to your exercises to give your body a little boost of that bone density. And I always do it in adding some intervals. So adding intervals of 10 to 30 seconds of these exercises. Oftentimes in our programs, we do it in a bit of a circuit where we do 3 strength training exercises, and then we add in an impact or a higher intensity exercise like one of these. So one that's really easy is fast feet. We do this one a lot. We did it tonight. You'll take light touches on your toes, almost like you're doing a little jog, but you're going quick, 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 quick with a little bit of force here. So just a little bit of impact on that one. To make it up, take it up a notch, you could go for an air jump rope. So little jump rope here, pretending you're doing that jump rope. Maybe you got onto one foot, other foot, switch back and forth, double, and go for a few seconds. This is all if you're feeling pretty healthy in your body. Another way is we do cherry pickers. So the regular cherry pickers is a good opposite arm and leg march, which is nice and steady and a good way to build some good stability. But if you're healthy and you want to take it up a notch to build a little bit of impact in, you can add it where it almost looks like a skip. And then the last option that I have, and I'll not go through all of them for the sake of time, is a burpee. And I know that sounds horrendous, but we have a ton of ways that we do burpees and modify that movement for our members. So we usually use an elevated surface, which is like the back of the chair or the countertop, the seat of the chair, depending on how you're doing with your stability. You're going to walk your body out into your good plank. You're going to come up nice and tall, and then you're going to reach and get a little hop. So this is if you want to add that impact. So a little quicker, it would look like this. So you want to make sure that you bend your hips and knees as you land. You get that really soft land. I always joke with my members that if you land with straight legs like this, I feel it in my soul. It like hurts my body. So you really need to get that soft land, bending your knees and hips each time, giving in a little bit there. I will switch my, let me see. I'm going to stay on this one and I'm going to go through some of my balance exercises. So super duper important to improve your balance because we want to make sure that we have stellar balance, especially if we're at risk for osteoporosis. We want to make sure we're really, really fine tuning our balance. And balance is way more than just standing on one foot. Most people think when you talk about balance, oh, I can stand on one foot, no problem. Or that's the thing that they think they have to do to improve their balance. They don't realize that there's so much that makes up our balance. So balance is made up of, if we were to lose our balance just a little bit, let's say somebody nudged into us at the grocery store, we would probably just weight shift a little bit and kind of pull our body back in. Let's say we were on the metro and it got going really quick and we didn't know, it would be losing our balance a little bit more so. You might take a good step to protect yourself. And then, so those are different ways that we can practice our balance and improve our balance. We need to practice not only our weight shifting, but our reaction and our stepping training, as well as that stationary single leg stance or whatnot balance. So some ways that we can practice our weight shifting, a little quick exercise that I teach my balance class that I do on Fridays, is we keep a good stance here. We bend our hips and knees like we're reaching over to pick weeds over here. We shift our body weight over here. We're picking the weeds over here. We lift up and over and toss those weeds over our neighbor's fence. So we bend down, bend our hips and knees, toss those weeds over our neighbor's fence. And you can see my body is shifting all the way down and over here. and then all the way up and over here. So it's a really good weight shifting exercise. And you can do that small or large. You can be right here and here, or go all the way down and like I did, or even add a little single leg stance to toss those weeds way over the neighbor's fence. You can work on your reaction training. I do a little game called the clock game, where you pretend that you're standing in the center of the clock, and around you are the hands of the clock. So ahead of me is 12, 1, 2, 3, behind me is 6, all the way around. You can have somebody else, or there's also an app called Clock Yourself app, or you can just look at a clock and practice going from random numbers quickly. So you're gonna step, come back center, step, come back center, step, come back center. Working on that quick speed of reaction. It may sound simple, but we want that reaction to be so automatic. We want it to happen in an instant if we need it. So if we've been nudged or if we lose our balance, we want that muscle memory so quick to take that good size step and return. The hardest one is backwards. Most times, especially if people have had a fall or are worried about their balance, they tend to shrink that step because they're nervous about it. And so it's really important to take that good solid size step backwards and work on that. And then of course, your stationary balance is very important as well. There's research that links that we should be able to hold that single leg stance position on one foot here, all the way up into our 90s for at least 10 seconds. So if you can't, keep working on it. If it's something that you're working on, you can always, I tell people to start in that kickstand position. Most of my weight is on this leg, but I'm toe touch over here, where I'm really just putting a little bit of weight down here, but most of my weight is over here. So you're working towards that single leg stance position if you need a little bit of a challenge to get there. Let's see, I want to make sure. All right, so I'm going to unshare. Let's see, back my spotlight over here. Good. Remove that spotlight. Go back to my gallery here. Good. All right, you guys see my big screen of my nutrients? Yeah. Yes, thank you so much. So we've gone over the exercises that are really important for our body. Hopefully you have some great examples there. Hopefully you know that you need that variety and that change and that challenge for your body through different exercises. But what about our nutrients? What are important for our nutrients? And I'm going to kind of rush through this because I know we're running out of time. So I understand if you have to, leave in a few minutes, there will definitely be a replay of this presentation. So we need more than just calcium. We need calcium, and I'm giving you the milligrams per day on all of these. We need vitamin D, we need phosphorus, and we need protein to help to build our bones. So it's really important that we get a variety of these.
Aubrey?
Oh, yes.
Are we supposed to be seeing a slide or just you?
Oh, a slide, sorry. You're not?
No. I
Sorry,
see
thank
you.
you so much. Let's see.
I see you. I mean, I see the
My
slide.
Yeah,
I see the slide
too.
Yeah, I have it there too. Is it just a sliding? Oops, sorry. Is it maybe you might need to are you on mobile? You might need to scroll back. Oop, now I lost the right slide. Go back, go back.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm not, I can see you sitting from the side and I can see your face straight on. So I see you on two different screens, two different views, but no slide.
Yeah, interesting. And everybody else sees my nutrient slide?
I do. I do.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not sure about that because I'm spotlighted and I'm shared on this one. So I think we're all right.
I can see both.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so we're going to continue a little bit because we want to get the most out of this one. So we want to make sure that we get all of these nutrients. It's really important that you try.
Okay, I got it.
Good.
I had to switch to side-by-side mode.
There we go. So you want to make sure you try to get your nutrients from food when possible versus supplements. Of course, it is tricky because if you have tried to calculate this out, if you have tried to really calculate out how much calcium you're getting per day, 1,500 milligrams is a lot. It's a challenge, especially if you're trying to get it just through your food. So I encourage you to track it for a few days and see how you do, see what kind of changes you can make. And then if you need to add a supplement, go from there. Same thing with your protein. When I'm talking with our clients at Vitality Fitness, I'm encouraging them to get, 60 to 75 grams of protein a day to help build muscle. They're like, this is a lot. It does take a little bit of adjustment to get there. Let's see. There we go. So of course, you can get calcium from dairy sources, but some people are very sensitive to dairy sources. So I just thought I'd mention that there's a lot of ways that you can get calcium through non-dairy sources. Some of them might be surprising to you. I know that when I was pregnant, which is a time when, your nutrients are kind of being sucked away from your body, right? I really craved oranges, like so much. And so if looking back on that, I'm sure I needed like the folic acid and things from that, but also the calcium, right, that was being kind of taken away from my body at that time. So there's some interesting things here. To note is that bok choy and kale and some of your dark greens are really helpful. White beans, almonds, chia seeds, sesame seeds. If you can sprinkle those on a salad or add them to a smoothie, I'm talking chia seeds now, you're going to help to get a little bit more nutrients in there. And did you know that there are some foods that actually inhibit your calcium absorption? So this is something that I was learning along the way in my process here, is that spinach is a great source of nutrients, but it's high in oxalic acid, which actually impedes our absorption of calcium. So sometimes you might make a smoothie in the morning and you're packing it with some greens and you're thinking it's giving you a ton of nutrients, and you're thinking because it has that dark leafy green in there, it might be giving you some calcium. Maybe you're pairing it with a non-dairy milk and thinking that you're getting the calcium from that, but the combination of that oxalic acid from the spinach is actually reducing the absorption of your calcium. So you just want to be mindful, not to say that you can't do it, but you just want to be mindful that maybe you need to up your absorption through different, having more throughout the day, or maybe making it without spinach, or varying it up, not combining those dairy choices with your spinach. Other things that inhibit the calcium absorption is high fiber foods, because they contain phytates, which prevent your calcium from being absorbed. So whole grains, dried beans, nuts, all of these things make it more difficult for your body to absorb that calcium. And then we talked about before colas and alcohol, and as well as coffee. With that 4 cups a day on the coffee, don't eliminate it altogether if you need it. And then how to best absorb your calcium. You want to eat a variety of foods that are rich in calcium throughout the day. You don't want to just pack it into one time. You want to try to spread it out throughout the day if possible. You want to schedule your food. So if you know that you're going to be having some of those foods that make it harder to absorb the calcium, maybe you have them separately from something else that you think might be giving you good calcium. And then maybe instead of doing that, you would increase your intake. Maybe you do have that smoothie with your non-dairy milk and your spinach, but maybe you just know that it gave you a little less calcium than you thought it did, and then you up your intake later on throughout the day. And then I just wanted to kind of give a shout out to a couple of my clients. Oops, we have a chat. Great info. I just wanted to give a shout out to a couple of my clients. I know we have a ton of our clients on here, and I'm so proud of you all. And it's really just wonderful to work with all of you. But I thought I would spotlight just a couple of just who've really made some great improvements with building their bone density and boosting their health. Barbara started with us. She was just walking. She wasn't probably that regular with her walking either. She had some back issues. She was tired. She struggled with depression. She had about 30 pounds to lose, and she was really worried about her bone density as well. And through regular exercise with us, she was able to not only get rid of not get rid of, but just really feel so much better with her depression. She really it really changed her mindset throughout her day. And she just felt better overall. She felt stronger, more confident, and also was able to build her bone density and her balance. And then my client Jeannie is a fun one. She's always up for a challenge. She's a labor and delivery nurse. She spent years on her feet, not so great at her diet because she was used to kind of rushing and not having time to eat or take care of herself. She had 3 kids as well as working night shifts and different shifts for the labor and delivery nurse in the hospital. She had 30 pounds to lose. She had a recent hip replacement, always was pushing herself to the max, was also worried about her bone density, especially with that hip replacement and having those changes to her body, was really following closely to her bone density. And with working with myself and my team, we've improved her strength, her bone density, made some great changes to her nutrition, improved her balance, and she's just feeling strong and confident. So I've missed a slide. So I would love to just give you the offer that you could go at it alone or you could hire a coach. My team and I are here to support you. We have a lot of our members on here. We absolutely love supporting you. We absolutely love coming up with new workouts, new challenges, but really tailoring it to you and your body and your needs. It's a great way to kind of talk you through your fears and struggles, celebrate your wins, and keep you motivated and accountable. Oops, doesn't like to switch. A good mentor helps you navigate the path, offers guidance and strategy, takes the guesswork out of the process, and checks your form and technique and keeps you accountable and motivated. And a great mentor also brings together a group of people with similar struggles and goals to multiply everyone's success. So it's really wonderful to have a community of people with similar goals that may have similar struggles and similar needs, and similar, things that are good to see you, Susan. That would be working out together and working through your fitness goals together. If you try to go at it alone, you may spend some needless time guessing how to get results. You could spend lots of money on programs that don't work. You may give up on yourself. I know a lot of people start a program and they don't get the results that they want immediately. And so they just give up a little bit too soon. You could injure yourself with poor technique without the right coach. You might miss out on activities and adventures because your body's holding your back. But having a coach in your corner can give you quicker results, consistent progress, a higher success rate, and a community of a team of coaches in your corner, as well as a community of other members with similar desires, similar things like that. Having a coach in your corner has helped others that just like you to reach your goals is the key to success. So we've helped so many members really build strength, really build balance, really improve their bodies, improve their bone density. So today I promised I would show you the exact steps.
I'm just about to sign out because she's going into just commercial mode.
So funny. I'm going to give you guys a good resource list here in a minute, and I'm going to answer your questions, but I'm just going to go over what I reviewed today. So I'm going to show you the exact, today I promised that I would show you the exact steps to build your bone density, boost your strength and confidence in your body, and gain vitality. And what I want you to make sure that you do know is that you need strength training, postural exercises, balance training, mobility and stretching, and nutrition. That great combination is what's going to help you. If you implement these steps, you will have confidence in your body to feel balanced and strong. You'll have strength and energy to enjoy all of your adventures ahead, and you will age differently than generations before you, staying strong, active, and involved. And that's what I love about our members. So you could choose what works for you. You can go at it on your path alone. I've given you some great exercises, some great options, some great information. You can go at it alone and work on those things, or you could work together with myself and my team. What I'm offering is that you could hop on a call with me to discover what's going on with your body. We would talk a little bit more about your goals. We would help to understand what's going on with you. And if it feels like a great fit, we could talk about my programs and working together. This is for women and a few good men over 55. We keep our community just with the same age group. It really helps to help everybody have similar goals and have that community feel. We want to work with people that know that now is the time they're going to take action, and they'll show up with some good energy, and you'll trust the process. This is not for you if you want a quick fix, you're a grumpy Gus, and you don't have time in your schedule to work out. The reasons I'm doing this is I want you to live a long, happy life, feeling strong and confident in your body. I'm so proud of our members, and I absolutely love the work that I do. And I've seen such amazing progress in our members. And so that's why I'm giving that offer for anybody that isn't working already with us. I would love to hop on a call with you and just discover how we could help to build your body up. If you allow me to support you, I will help you through those steps. And I have this invitation to book a call with me. I will put it in the chat, and I'm also going to put in the chat a good resource list. So I'm going to grab that here. I'm going to put this in the chat. This is a great resource list with some equipment that might be helpful for you as you go on this journey. There we go. Does everybody see my equipment list in the chat? There's a little doc that should have popped up. It's a great resource in there. It's a good it's a doc that you should be able to click on and open. And it's a great resource. And the last thing I'm going to do is grab my calendar link. And if you're not one of our members and you feel like working together might be a good fit, I would love to just connect. No hard sales whatsoever. I would love to connect, learn a little bit more about yourself, your goals, your body, and see if it's a good fit for us to work together. It's been great connecting with you all this evening. I have a few minutes for questions. So I'm going to look and see, do we have any questions? I'm going to check the chat here because I know.
Aubrey, I'm not seeing the document you mentioned.
Oh, let's see. Does anybody else see it?
I see it. You have to open the chat. Make sure they open.
You know, are you opening the chat
but
there?
I did, but I didn't see it. I'll look again. Okay, thanks.
All right, let me pop it in there again just to be sure.
Maybe scroll up and down.
Okay, I see a calendar.
Yeah, it should be right above that.
Right.
No, I still
I'll
don't see
pop
it.
it in there again just so it's
Okay,
there
thanks.
on
Okay.
top.
All right, thanks.
It may take a little bit to load. It depends on your device. And I'll also send it out in the replay. So in the emails for the replay, if you're unable to open it here, I'll send it out in the emails for the replay.
Because it says to open it and then to save, and it looks like it's your folders of files, not save into mine. You know what I mean? I don't know how. I don't know how to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I would send it with an email. It's probably
it's so weird to do it on Zoom. So yeah, I'll send it in the email. It'll be much easier to open.
Okay, thank
it's
you.
just a little list with some links that might be helpful, you know, with some great equipment that we already use, and then maybe a few more pieces that might be helpful if you thought you wanted them.
Wonderful. I definitely need the replay.
Yeah, it was a lot of information. Let's see. Let's see. Mary Lane says, when you were exercising on the floor, did you flatten your back or keep the curve in your spine? So this is a great question. I get asked this question all the time. You want to get into kind of a neutral spine position, but you don't want to totally lose the curve, the natural curve that you have in your back. So it really depends on the exercise. In your bridging position, you want to tuck your core muscles in. You don't have to get an absolutely flat back. It doesn't have to be totally losing that natural curve that you have in your spine. It's okay to keep that. There was some kind of old news, old guidance with exercise where people were taught to really get into that big pelvic tilt and really tuck in there and to protect their spine. But that's actually not as healthy as we once thought that was. You want to just keep kind of as much of a neutral spine as possible without getting into that huge pelvic tilt position. Does that make sense? Yeah, awesome. Any other questions? I'm happy to hang here for a few minutes. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them for you. It was so great connecting with you guys this evening. I hope that you learned a few things. I certainly learned some things. This was, kind of me diving into the research and kind of updating my information on osteoporosis and bone health. So I learned a few things in the process. I hope you learned some things as well. It was great connecting with you all. Leanne recommends our program. Wonderful. We love having you, Leanne. Any other questions?
Oh, I have a question.
Sure.
I am a regular walker, and I was completely shocked when you said that just walking does not provide enough in terms of your bone health, when I've always heard the opposite, how wonderful it is for strengthening your bones.
Yeah. And that was one of the kind of shockers for me too, is when I was taking the courses and kind of diving into a little bit more of the research, was finding that if your body is used to that regular challenge and you do kind of like the same amount and the same loop and the same kind of challenge, that your body's now used to that. Your body is kind of done as much bone building as it can from that activity. I mean, of course, it would be worse if you sat down and did absolutely nothing. Like that would definitely be a step backwards, right? But it's not quite doing as much benefit as you really want it to be. So maybe you might get out and get that weighted vest and kind of add a little bit more weight to yourself. Or maybe you were going into adding a few more hills or changing your course as you went to make it a little bit more challenging for your body each time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Leanne asked about what about carrying weight? So kind of similar, but the weight like kind of around your body for that weighted vest kind of sits right over your body and right over your spine and kind of helps even more than just kind of carrying the weights in your hands. That's not quite giving you that resistance in the right spot that we want it for that activity. Yeah. Great questions.
Audrey?
Yes.
Audrey? Hi.
Yeah, sure, Aubrey.
Audrey, hi. I'm Pauletta from Maryland. Hi, how are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you. So it's 45 minutes. Is it scheduled like your program? Is it Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays?
Oh,
Is it
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Or
yeah.
are they video that you can see them at different times, or how?
Sure. Yeah, I can go into a little bit more details about the program. So our programs, we're live here on Zoom. We have multiple workouts a day. You said you're in Maryland, so we're Eastern time as well. We do 7 a.m., 10 a.m., 2 p.m., 6 p.m. So there's multiple times that you can log on, based on your schedule. And you're logging on live with myself and my team of trainers where we're guiding you through the workout, but we're also watching you and checking in with you and making sure that your body's moving the right way. So it's different than if you were to log on to like a YouTube workout and just kind of watch along. We're really giving you that good feedback and making sure you're moving your body the right way.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Aubrey, how much can we expect to pay for one of those weighted vests?
That's a good question. They range in price, anywhere between about $30 to like $100 some dollars. It just
Oh,
depends. But
okay.
it doesn't mean that you have to buy like the $100 some one. I gave you a few links and a few options in that resource list that I'll send out. And the one that I chose was about that $30 range, I think. I tried to find the one that was adjustable because I would think that if you were going to invest in it, that you would want one that's not just like 8 pounds or like just 15 pounds, but you could take the weights in and out to adjust your challenge. So maybe you started at like 5 pounds or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then you worked on increasing and building up, just like we were talking about varying that challenge.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, another question.
Yeah,
In
go
terms
for it.
of your the hand weights or the dumbbells, is there any particular brand that you would recommend, or are they basically all the same?
So it's really a personal preference, but I like the ones that are coated in this.
Neoprene.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I like the ones that are like this because they don't get as sweaty.
Mhm. Yeah.
And they're not as slippery if you do get a little sweaty. So I like these kind. And they do have these kind at like Five Below. They have them at like some of the ones that I have are Amazon Basic, like the brand that's the basic brand of Amazon stuff. These are also Gaiam. I forget how to say that, but it's available at Kohl's. So, you don't have to pay a lot of money for weights. Like in the beginning of pandemic, weight prices were through the roof. You couldn't get them anywhere and the prices were outrageous, but they've come back down. There's also a link in the resource that I shared of a good weight with 3 different size weights and a little stand, which is nice.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions? So good to see you all. Hi, Jackie. I miss seeing you.
Miss you too. I'll be back soon.
Awesome. All right. If there's no other questions, it's been absolutely wonderful to connect with you. I thank you for attending. Thank you so much for your positivity and your good vibes and spending your Tuesday with me. Hope you guys have a great evening, and it was great to connect with you. I will be sending out that replay as well as that resource list in the next couple of days as I get it edited and processed through.